Hello everyone. I'm coming live to you today because I have something that I feel like I need to talk to you about. There's so much going on in the country and with, I know my channel says prepping, and I'm not really a prepper in the sense that a lot of people are, but there's something that I think that you need to know, you need to decide right now. I've heard this saying before that says, your lack of prepping does not constitute an emergency for me. And that's true. That's true in the prepping sense. Because, I have warned people for 3 or 4 years that they need to be preparing. You need to prepare for, for hard times. And it's not just the apocalypse. There's bad weather, job losses, layoffs, illnesses, all kinds of things that reasons to be prepared. So, in the last few years, since I started live streaming my canning videos, first on Facebook, and I've had so many people to come to me and say, if things get bad, I'm coming to your house. Well, that's like me saying, I'm going to come to your house and go through your pantry and see what I want. Well, that's kind of rude. But at the same time, if people have an inkling that things might get bad, why are they not prepping? It doesn't take that much effort to be prepared. And so I've watched, the news and other YouTube channels. I heard Pinball just a couple of days ago saying that in the first few months, just up until the 1st of August, I guess the first 7 months of this year, in the United States, there's over 600,000 people have gotten hunting licenses. Well, those people are making plans. Let me tell you, they're making plans. Hunting season is not even here yet. I don't know about other states. Maybe up in Alaska or, in Wisconsin or, some Minnesota, some of those northern states, they may have an earlier hunting season. But in the South, it doesn't hit until November, December, January, through the cooler months. So somebody's making plans now that they can hunt later this year, and hunting is for food. So, of course, they might be coon hunting and, some other things like that. And of course, a lot of people might say, what's coon? That's raccoon. But also in watching the news, I'm seeing, food processing plants all over the country. I heard Tyson and Smithfield and different ones that are closing their factories and laying people off. Now, obviously, that's going to be an immediate impact for all those people that work in those factories. But it's also going to be an immediate impact, or pretty immediate impact, for the food industry. So that's going to affect all of us. And it's a ripple effect. When factories close, or if, even during the season, if they lay off, it's a ripple effect. It ripples on down to the consumer. If they're not processing food, when you go to the grocery store, you're not going to find what you're looking for. I was just thinking that back to when my husband and I first got married. He was working for the Stokely Van Camp company, and that was seasonal. The seasonal work of canning what the local farmers were growing. And so in the summertime, they might work, 12-hour shifts 7 days a week in order to process all the food. But then come fall and winter, when there was nothing coming in for them to can, they could run pork and beans in the wintertime. Sometimes they could run some kraut and some things like that in the wintertime, or they would maybe sometimes greens that they would bring in. They brought in some produce, I guess, from more southern states. But for the most part, a lot of those men got laid off. And I'm moving my camera around. I'm sorry, I don't have my tripod here, so be patient with me. But anyway, I'm just thinking that, like I said, for the last 3 or 4 years since I've been streaming about, preparing, about buying food and getting things that you need. And even, I guess it was 2.5 years ago, when I was watching Monkey Works, and he was showing all of the ships that were parked in the harbors in China. And, being in working in a company in the late 80s and early 90s where we had just-in-time shipments, I recognized immediately what that was going to do to the things on the shelves in our country. And of course, then about a year later, when I had an appliance that broke, and I went to look for that new appliance, a new refrigerator, and then also after that, a new washing machine, and I could not get what I wanted. It was just not available unless I wanted to wait 3 or 4 months to get it. And, in a home where you live, and you've got to have the appliances, or you need it right then. If you've got one that's broken, you can't wait 3 or 4 months to get a new appliance. So I had to take what they had available. So, and then a few days ago, I was talking with someone that has a husband who is a truck driver. And she was telling me about their discussion that the loads that they were getting all of the loads that they were getting was taking food back to the factories. And he's like, what in the world's going on? Why are we taking the food back to the factories? It's not out of date. And my guess is that they're shipping it out of the country. They're going to take this food and ship it overseas, or maybe they're, preparing it for the military. I don't know what they're doing. But there has to be a reason why they're shipping food back to the factories. And he even said that he had talked to other truck drivers from other companies, and that they also were shipping food back to the factories. So that's a lot going on. Factories closing, food going back to factories, layoffs. So, that in itself is enough that it ought to make everybody wake up and be prepared. So, anyway, I didn't, this was kind of a off-the-cuff, spur-of-the-moment, decision to go live right now. But I felt like I needed to just drop a quick video and say, please, if you have not done done some preparation, go buy an extra can of Beanie Weenies, or an extra can of Spam, or an extra can of something, and put on your shelf. Think about how much food that it takes, and it's really easy to figure out how much you need. You know what you buy at the grocery store on a regular basis. If you sit down, think about what meals you prepare in a week, and then in 2 weeks, and then in a month, and then multiply that by 12. You can figure out how much food it takes to feed your family or you for 1 year. And, start, even if you've just got a month worth of food. The vast majority of people in this country do not have enough food to last a week in their pantries. How do I know that? Well, around here especially, because in the wintertime, if we get a news broadcast that says, oh, we're going to have, a 1/4 inch of snow, everybody and his brother runs to the grocery store. They got to have milk and bread. And I don't know what milk and bread's going to do, what good that's going to do to get them through a few, a 1/2 inch of snow or a 1/4 inch of snow, or even if it's 2 or 3 inches of snow, even worse. If it's going to snow, or if there's going to be a storm, you shouldn't have to run to the grocery store. You should have enough food in your pantry to last, for a while anyway. So, anyway, I just wanted to encourage you right now. First of all, prepare. But second of all, decide, who are you preparing for? Is everybody in your neighborhood going to show up at your house? Are you going to give food to everybody in your neighborhood? I mean, if I had to give food to everybody that said, I'm coming to your house, one day my food would be gone. So those are decisions you need to make right now. And figure out a way that you can not just stock a pantry, but figure out a way that you can restock that pantry without the grocery store. By networking with some farmers, by growing your own food, have a few chickens in your yard. I don't have any right now, but I plan to get some. My husband and I have been talking about having us, just enough to provide the eggs and some stuff like that. And then we're looking at some more long-term things. So, anyways, just start thinking about what it is that you can do to make sure that you have food on your shelf if you can't go to the grocery store and get it. Because if they're shipping the food back to the factory and the food factories are shutting down, then it stands to reason that we better have a way to come up with our own food and quit depending on factories and our government to provide it for us. Because it doesn't matter if you've got a bunch of money. If there's no food available, then you won't be able to get food. So I'm going to leave it with you for now. And until next time, God bless you.